online. So I'm a little behind where I normally am at this time. Running about 15 minutes late. Because I was dealing with installing a new hard drive into my machine. I've been working with enough VMs and enough 3D projects that I am running out of drive space on my super fast drive. So I've added a slow drive. I just got a Western Digital Blue. It was like $50 on sale at Micro Center. So it was a pretty good price. It's a terabyte of storage. That should last me quite some time, considering that, as is, even with games installed and stuff, I'm barely pushing half a terabyte. So, slow storage for things like music, photos, asset files for projects, that kind of thing. And then I'll leave the OS and games and stuff on the really fast drive. Let's see here. I have a shiny new clacky keyboard because my old keyboard died for some reason. Not completely sure what happened, but all of a sudden the period key stopped working, and that's certainly no good for programming. So I have a Corsair K70, and it's the rapid fire, so very light touch on the keys. You will see me create typos a lot, and right now that's because my fingers are just resting on the keys a little too heavy. It's causing typos, so that's fun. But I really like how lightly I can press on it, and it still registers the keystrokes. So the other thing is, as I said, I've been running out of storage space. Part of the reason why is I've been doing more with VR development, and this week I also got the HTC Vive, which is very exciting for me. So probably before too long, as we start finishing projects and whatnot, I will be moving over and doing some more Unity development and whatnot. And I might be using Draco Model to help with that, to write large numbers of scripts and whatnot. So while we're doing stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and so I haven't even initialized the new disk yet. So I'm going to disk management, and we'll get this formatting in the background as we code, because we're doing it on two separate drives. Should be okay, but then again, maybe not. Wow. It does not like loading this configuration information. I have no idea what's going on here. Ah! Uh-oh. Explorer has crashed. Hopefully you're still with me. Yep. Alright, looks like everybody's still here. Not sure what the heck just happened there. Initialize disk. Okay, initialize. Yes, not recognized by all versions of Windows. That's fine. New simple volume, yes. Next, the whole damn thing. I will assign it E, because I think that's the one at work. I have a similar thing. TFS, sure. Slow storage. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Finish. All right. Yeah, so my 931 gigs, whatever, because this is my NVMe drive down here at 500 gigs of really zoomy fast stuff. All right, so that's going to do its thing. Yeah, so I'm running out of free space here. Very clear to see that. Is that all I had to do? I believe so. Yep. Ah, all right. That is a lot faster than it used to be back in the day. That's for damn sure. So I will clean that up later. That's not a we thing. That's a me thing. I'll clean up my own damn stuff. Free up some high-speed storage. I'll make backups of things, and generally take care of my data. 3 copies, 2 different medium, one of which is offsite. That's how you should be doing your backups. And so I'm going to make sure, because right now not all of my stuff on Google Drive fits on my C drive, so by having this extra drive, I'll make sure that I really do have that, and I'm following my own advice as regards to backups. All right, so where did we leave off? We left off, we were in the midst of, well, we had just released, we were not in the midst of releasing, we had just released Draco model. So, hopefully it's still up and working on the site. Google login, yep, all right, that's the official Google login. We can see, oh no, no. There's my phone number and email address if anybody really feels the need to call or email. All right, music database. So here's this. For some reason, album didn't save, but a lot of this stuff did save. Looks like it's going pretty strong here. Recording songs, artist, album, genre. I like how this looks. And that saved from 2 weeks ago, actually. We were off last week. All right. So it looks like all of this is a go, which is great. So we are moving on from one of our current code renderers. We have a very basic HTML code renderer. And this is too simplistic to really be of use to anyone for anything. What I think our next move is going to be is to create a better HTML renderer. And that will start driving a lot of other things in our system. So, first of all, let's start hosting locally. Oh, no, that's different. Yeah, it's a blue screen. Not a blue screen of death, it's a blue screen. It's supposed to be that, but, alright, and we're up and running locally. Good. Alright, go ahead, pull up music 2. This should look pretty familiar. This is similar to the other project that we had. Oh, I don't have my chat open. Hold on just a second. Let's see here. Connecting. Alright, pop that out. There we go. Now we can chat. Let's see, Twitch. That's the other one that we should check on real quick. All right. Now we can chat. So if you have questions or anything, toss them into chat, and I will be able to respond to them. All right. Here we go. Genres, album, publisher. So these are so we have two entities, no interfaces, one enumeration, and no nodes. Well, so the interesting thing about HTML is that interfaces don't apply because they're a higher level thing. If we're doing an entity, maybe we'd inherit from an interface, so we might pull some things in, but for the most part, actually no, it's not going to, because interfaces only declare methods, they don't declare properties. So there's nothing that a parent is going to have. So we'd have parent classes, we have to worry about that. And then we can worry about enums, not worried about nodes. So that keeps our job fairly simple. Now we can do an absolute raw HTML renderer. I think, frankly, that would be a little too simplistic to actually be useful. So we're going to go ahead and do Bootstrap. So, all right, so we're going to look at this and we're going to figure out what do we want to do with our Bootstrap. We want a fairly simple page. We will start off with a Bootstrap content delivery network link. Right? We don't need. If somebody else wants something, then we can do that. But for the most part, I think that we can just start with CDN. So we'll do gedit. All right. And we'll start with an HTML tag. All right, so this is just going to be a boilerplate kind of page. Right, we don't want anything too terribly fancy in that. All right. All right. Yeah. Oh, hey, look at this. Copy. Paste. Okay, let's see here. So that's the Bootstrap CSS. Right, so we're going to use the CDN link. Alright, so that's the head. And then jQuery. And bootstrap min.js. And so we need the bootstrap min.js. There it is. Alright. So this is kind of our boilerplate HTML code. Now, I'm fully aware that yeah, okay. Fully aware that we don't need to do this on every single page. That as we render these sections, right, we're going to render this HTML. Right, the album stuff doesn't need to be a whole nother page where we repeat this over and over again. Necessarily. Because usually it's going to be in like PHP or something like that where you normally have this. However, this template is really nice to have. So we're going to say body goes here. I make this really long. Okay, those do all go on one line as they should. Great. So let's fire up PHP Storm. Just checking to see if the format was done. Yeah, it's been done for a few minutes. All right. Render C++, CS, general render. So we're actually going to add a new file. So now we're going to take the code that we just wrote, and we're just going to pop it there for now. All right. Let's see, I need render.js. And so this is render. HTML bootstrap. Okay. All right, so then that function is called C#, and really the function we want is HTML bootstrap. All right, so again, in this case, we're just looping through entities and enumerations. All right. All right, so we have a few things here that are useful functions. So camelize, so take a variable name and make it camel case. Definitely going to keep that. Underscore eyes probably isn't going to be used. I'm just going to comment it out so that it is ready to be eliminated. Function called tab, which puts tabs, new lines, later. Let's see here, model type to HTML type. All right, now we've done that, fully knowing that this is going to change a little bit. Of course, in HTML, everything's a string. That said, the fact that everything is a string isn't actually terribly helpful to us. It's much better to know that how we want to validate and verify it. So, for example, we have a phone number as a type so that we can do validation based on phone number type. Same with address or URL, that we can put in regular expressions or something like that every time that we have the model type. So anytime we run into those data types, we can come up with a special like validation function, and we'll probably get into that. So then we have this data type to C#. That doesn't actually make a whole lot of sense in HTML land, because again, everything is a string, really, under the hood, and that's some internal conversion. Okay, so this C# entity, we would do HTML entity, and so this is where we're going to take some of that boilerplate code. No. Boilerplate code. from down here, and that's where that's going to go. And let's see here, C# enumeration. So that would be soon HTML enumeration. And so that lets us do drop-down lists and whatnot. And so this calls that. All right. I told you I was going to make some typos due to this keyboard. I do really like it though. Alright, so for each enumeration, we camelize the name to give us the file name .html, and then we run the enumeration code and get an enumeration, and then we save that out as a blob and download it to the user. That's great. Same thing here. Now, for the moment, we're just going to have that be kind of an empty action. All right, and then for the member, we get the entities. Oh, remind me later. Okay. So this is all boilerplate for the most part. So where we have this output and these using statements and whatnot, that's where this is going to go. Now we also have a spreadsheet, I believe, to help us do some of this code translation. Yes. So this is extraordinarily helpful if we have wrote boilerplate code that we want to turn into rendering JavaScript, because we have this wrong window. We have this cute little spreadsheet that just does some string concatenation for us so that we don't have to. Oh, jeez. And for some reason, it has lost its new lines. There we go. Perfect. And so we can take this code and pop it right in here. Okay, so this is all very standard boilerplate text. There's no single quotes in any of this, so this should all render as advertised. Okay. Yes, that all looks good. So now the title here we can get rid of. Right? We can replace that with the actual model.name. In fact, we don't want to do the model.name. We want to do the entity.name. Otherwise, they'll all have the same title. All right. So now for every entity, we're going through, and we are creating an HTML file that uses that, and then starts the body, does a bunch of stuff, and then we need to close that file out. So The body goes there. Take this. Paste in that. And Bob, your uncle. There we go. Okay. All right. So, if all of that works, cross your fingers, we can go over back to our page. We can refresh. And we will say music 2, and that's this thing. So really right now we have an album and we have a publisher. So we can go here. Okay, HTML bootstrap. And then it doesn't work. Underscore eyes is not defined. Ooh, well. Oh. All right. Let's go ahead and put the model name there as well, or the entity name there as well. All right, reloaded. Publisher, album, genres, render code, HTML bootstrap. Oh, there we go. Genres, publisher, and album. So, not sure where we're getting a genres file, but we have a publisher file and an album file. Let's go ahead and check out our downloads. So here's genres.html, open in Chromium. Enum goes here. That's what we told it to say. All right, well, imagine that. Album.html. All right, so we didn't close out the title tag. Oops. And that has caused some problems. No, we did close out the title tag. Oh, wait, look at that. Bad semicolon. Just one semicolon and everything goes to hell. Downloads folder. Refresh. Render code, HTML bootstrap. Let's take a look at album.html. Music2.album, album.html, and the title is album. Hey, look at that. All the things line up. Okay, so I want to add some tabs here within my head. This feels very strange without them. Get rid of that extra new line and get some tabs in here as well. But that is a working thing. No need to do it on that one. That. I gotta really remember the columnar edit that happens in this text editor. And speed things up. Alright, and then the body makes sense. Alright. Let's see here. Spells extra space beginning and the end, because most likely we'll just grab the good guts out of the middle of this. Alright, so that's what we wanted. It wasn't, and that's working for now. Check. Okay. No questions yet. That's fine. Alright. So we've gone through and we've created a very basic page, and all it says is the name of the entity. So we have our model, we have our project, we've defined what we want our entities to be, and we've created an HTML page, one per, but now we need to add some actual content to them. So let's see. So one of the things that we can do, I don't think we actually need that. We do want the entity name. But we can say H2. And the reason I'm picking H2 again is because we know that this is likely going to get sucked out and put into another page. So that's going to go there. We don't need that. We don't need a lot of that. Okay, so now where we want to go from here is start creating a bootstrap grid, one row for each entity, I think. So let's go review the syntax on that. When I'm doing a lot of grid arrangements and whatnot, I will have these at the top of my head, but no, I don't want grids. I want forms. And I don't want an inline form like that. There we go. So this is I want my standard form to be more like this, where you have the title and then the thing that you are entering, right? So this is a very nice example of what we should be looking for in our HTML. So I'm going to grab that and do a whole lot with it. Again, we take their code, we put it through our rendering processor here so that it is ready to go. Okay, so they got a bunch of spaces in their stuff. That's to be expected. We can deal with that and convert it to tabs later or not as we see fit. Alright, so that's form. So that's the beginning and ending of the form. So now this form group, there we go. All right, so this had 4 form groups. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, yeah. So the remember me, the sign in. Okay. So in this case, we're not going to want this to be sign in. We're going to want that to say save. We don't care about the remember me so much. Well, actually, but we do kind of. More Boolean operators. All right. Password we don't care about. We're not dealing with that so much. Okay, so let's go ahead and var HTML text function model int member. Okay. So this is where we're going to take in a member, and then we're going to run it through and generate that text. For now, we're just going to do HTML text model and mem. All right, and we're going to do that in a for each loop. So for each member in our object, no, that doesn't get tabs because we're calling HTML text. And we're passing in the member. All right, so instead of doing the render directly, we are calling a function that will do the render. So for each member render HTML form to go with it. All right, so we get the name of the member, and we'll deal with these label fors in a moment. For now, that looks pretty decent. So we're just going to run a quick sanity check, because I'm sure I've screwed something up. Show me the dumb ones like that. Show me there. Thank you. Clear those out. Album 1. Holy crap. Hey, look at that. Name, release date, publisher, genre. Now, of course, all those placeholders still say email. But the fact that we actually got those all to show up, that's hot stuff right there. That's really great. Whew. So you can see how here with album, name, release date, publisher, genre, name, release date, publisher, genre, how these start going together. Okay. All right. So let's make this even better. Let's make those placeholders match. Underscore i's we're not going to use. And then we'll do function. Oh, you know what? No, I don't need it. Well, yeah. Function qualified name. And what is this going to be? Qualified name is going to be model. No, it's going to be entity member and mem. And so to return so we're just getting we're creating a fully qualified name here, where we have an entity name dash and then the member part of it, so that we can have multiple items of these forms on one page and they aren't necessarily colliding with each other. So our queue name is equal to qualified name of ent mem. Input type, okay, so that is email. We're going to want to change that to text. The ID is QName, so that for link and that ID link match up. Class is form control, that's fine. And input type text should also be fine. All right. Go here, delete those. Go back to our page. Refresh. And yes, it is very iterative, but as you can see, we're definitely getting somewhere here. All right, that rendered. So now we can take a look at album. All right, so the name, there we go, release date, publisher, and genre. Those all show up. And now if we look at the source code underneath it, we're seeing album-name, right? And album release date, album publisher, album genre. So all of those are properly identified and easy to access when we get into jQuery code or something like that, especially doing validation and whatnot. But they're all fairly unique. All right. Yeah, and so here you can see we're doing similar things actually with that. All right. Now, on an ideal web page, we would buffer it with more stuff on either side. Let's go ahead and take a look at publisher just to make sure that there's something there as well. Yep, and then there's publisher with a name and a save button. So that save button is not very unique. We should probably see if we can add a class here. Yeah, I'm sure we can, and so we'll just call it publisher dash save. Save dash publisher. Well, let's also move this over to tabs. All right. So for each member, render the HTML form to go with it. So we've already done that. So we can get rid of all of this stuff. And then here, we're going to call this what? Save dash. It's not PHP, that's not going to work. Right, so we're going to camelize the entity's name. And so that's going to be a default class for this. So if we want to bind specifically to this save button, that we can. All right, so we have gone from pretty much a blank slate to rendering the start of a generic HTML form. And again, on these limited demos, it's just that limited. But if we start getting into some more serious models, let's go ahead and refresh this page. And let's go with healthcare. Yeah. Healthcare starts getting kind of big and crazy, right? Especially like person here. So you're able to render that and then go to the downloads and open up person. You know, this is a lot of code we didn't have to write. First name, family name, birth date, common name, right? Like this is a whole bunch. So the next thing that we're going to want to do, and we'll save it for next week, is validation. So we take like the birth date and we want to make sure that it's a date instead of just a string. And for gender, we're using an enumeration, and that we reference that enumeration there, or at least put the values of that enumeration in this dropdown so that we can use them. That kind of thing. So, however, makes for a very solid initial start, especially. I just want to inspect that real quick. Yeah, save dash person. I know some of the capitalization isn't ideal. I mean, here it actually makes sense. But this is HTML, and for that I like to stick with the JavaScript construct. I'm just going to check something real quick. How hard is it? I'm just going to test this real quick. One last test here. Just so that we're starting our camel cases lowercase, as we tend to do in JavaScript and HTML. Don't want any surprise capitalization inconsistencies. Right, the fact that we want nice consistent code is part of the reason why we're doing this. All right, HTML bootstrap. Person again. All right. So inspect that. Yeah, So there it is. It's a save button, button default, button type is submit, but it's save-person, right? So that uses that name. There's lots of consistency all around. And then like birth date, it's person-birth date. Right. Very consistent, easy naming convention. There's the parent. That's the class. That's the field. Very easy to follow how that gets serialized and deserialized down the line. So this is a very, very good way to begin. I'm happy. All right, let's go ahead and get this published. All right. Let's get this published. So, yeah, go ahead and deploy it. What the heck? All right. And then I think that is going to do it for this evening, folks. Thanks for coming and hanging out, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. If you got something out of this, or you want to give the tool a try, let's see here. So first thing is, if you want to give it a try, dracosoftware.com/dracomodel, and the very latest should be up there. So good. Oh, there it is. So if I load a music database, there's different music database, right? I should be able to render code to Bootstrap. I'll have a download of multiple files, and then again in that model, like album, pull up album. Yep, there it is. Album, record label, date published, save. Right. So that's live. If people want to play with it, dracosoftware.com/dracomodel trailing slash. I don't know if it will work without the trailing slash. So this is an open alpha. No promises to your data sticking around or not. Every now and then I'll have to wipe the database or something like that. So don't put anything in there that's too uber valuable. But please feel free to go ahead, give it a shot, try things out, try out your own samples. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all next week. If you got something out of this video, hit like, hit share, hit favorite, whatever your particular platform has. Tell a friend or tell a bunch of friends if you thought you got something really useful out of this. And I will see you next time. I'm just going to update my VM and start shutting things down. So if you have any questions or anything like that, please pop them into chat. Oh, and Miss Real says, how are you guys? We're doing pretty good. Got some VR gear here, HTC Vive, plus the HoloLens I've been working with, and an Oculus Rift DK2. So I'm pretty excited to start getting into some more of that kind of stuff. I think it'll be great. So. Okay. Alright, I'm going to hit this install now button. I'll have chat up for a little bit, but I am going to end the stream. So, hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you in a week.